Mate, what can I get for you?
Oh, may I have a fine beer from this fine establishment?
You know, I've got just the thing for you. 1 minute. How's that?
Oh, thank you, sir.
Very welcome. Hello and welcome to Board Stupid. My name's Wayne.
And I'm Matt.
And this is our wonderful pub. Welcome along.
Yeah, this is the Board Stupid pub.
The Board Stupid pub. We're having a lovely time at the Board Stupid pub. Cheers, absolutely.
Cheers to you.
And do you know what we need in our Board Stupid pub?
Games?
We need games in the Board Stupid pub.
Of course.
And that is the topic of today's top 5.
We haven't done a top 5 in a while, and well, here's one for you. Top 5 pub games.
Pub games. And if you want to know what our favourite pub games are, why not consider
hitting the subscribe button, having a
Absolutely.
cheers with us,
having a chin chin.
and and just have a good time with the Board Stupid family in the Board Stupid pub.
Absolutely. Let's hang out together at the Board Stupid pub with some Board Stupid games, having a Board Stupid time.
But you know what we should do?
Go on.
We should start this episode
Let's
before
start this episode.
finish.
Let's do it. So Matt, before we even start the list, let's talk about your parameters for what you would consider a pub game.
Yeah, of
so
course.
What would you do? What would you consider?
Of course, I got some rules.
Yeah.
First of all, is the footprint.
Yeah.
Both in my bag and on the table. So it needs to be a game that travels lightly and it fits in my backpack, and it fits on a standard UK table.
At the Great British Pub.
So in a small footprint. So those are the two rules. Then if it can be cheap, that is another one.
Just you're going to spill stuff on it.
Because after a few of these, sometimes
pints will get spilled.
Accident happens. So I want a game that, fair enough. It's another 20 quid and I can buy another copy. But yeah, those are the rules.
Those are your rules.
Yes.
Okay. I've got
and on top of that, the biggest rule of them all, it needs to be a fun game that you can play with your friends, with a 3, 4, 5, 6 people around the table. So
yeah. I think that's pretty similar to what I've done. That's excellent rules, with the one minor caveat around. I think my games have to be interactive. Mm-hmm. They need to involve some sort of conversation, talking to each other.
Fair enough. Yeah.
At least. But all of the other rules that you just said also apply. It needs to be a very small footprint, relatively cheap and easy to replace, and able to be played on a pub table. So, Matt, should we dig into that top 5?
Let's do it.
Do it.
All right, Wayne, let's start number 5. Which one is your number 5 on the list?
My number 5 is a dexterity game, and I have chosen Kluster.
I love it.
Kluster is a fantastic game. I don't have my copy with me for some reason, but Kluster is amazing. It is as simple as a rope and some magnets.
Yep.
And the wonderful thing about Kluster is it's waterproof. So it will be entirely pub friendly. Yep. You can play up to 4 players. And it's one of those games where you can be like, loser of this buys the next round. It has that vibe of it.
It is, and it's always fun to play because again, you play with magnets, so you're trying to put your pebble in place without collecting all the others, and the last one without, and the first one without any of the pebbles wins.
It's like a shedding game.
But it's a very light-hearted dexterity game.
Teach the rules in 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very good pick. It was on my list, and I heard that it was on your list, so
I booted it off his list because I like this one. So,
but I love it as well. It's one of the perfect pub games.
It's a quintessential pub game. It's a really good one. Also, a little bit more to it than it first appears. So certainly worth looking into. So Matt. Mine was waterproof. What about you? What's your number 5?
Mine is almost waterproof.
Okay.
Almost waterproof. And I picked some zombies because I love zombies. Again, it's one of those...
And they love you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's push your luck game.
I know what it is.
That for a pub is really fun, and we're talking about zombie dice.
The classic zombie dice. I've played this in pubs many a time.
And it's a perfect pub game. This is why. It's basically just rolling dice. You got a tube with all the dice inside. There's a lot of dice, 3 different dice. You take 3 dice out of the box. You're rolling 3, depending on what the results are. So if you are brains, you keep them. If you are shotguns, those are your wounds. And if they're steps, it means that you can re-roll that dice. And you basically keep doing it until you want to stop. If you got 3 wounds from the shotguns, from the dice, you lose all the brain that you collected at that point. So there is always that mechanics of should I roll more dice? Should I roll more dice? And in a pub environment, a couple of drinks in, people getting really cocky.
Roll again.
Or the people get really pushed from all the people saying, roll it. So I'm finding that's really, really fun, and it's super simple. It's literally comes in the deluxe version of the game is really, really nice.
The deluxe version?
Yes, you got, instead of the tube where you put your dice, you got a bag that is even easier to bring around, and to keep the scoring, you got cards with a Sharpie that you can delete, so you can write down your scoring.
Cool.
And that doesn't really add anything to the game. Better dice, nicer dices, but yeah, it's a very fun pub games that a few drinks in, you will have people shouting.
It's another one that's if you lose this, you buy the next round.
Yes, exactly. Super short as well, and it's all.
It's a good one.
It's all fun and games, guys. All fun and games.
All fun and games. Designed by the legendary Steve Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, Wayne. What is your number 4?
I have this one with me.
All right.
Rising
of course
from the ashes.
you did. Of course you did.
I bought my Batman, Love Letter Flex edition.
It's the Flex edition. It's the Batman edition that is basically literally rare as a magic Black Lotus at this point.
It's impossible to find this edition. But this is, no one's going to rebuy this one. I've beaten the hell out of this game over the last 10 years that I've owned it.
It's very well used.
It's very well used, and it's been used many times in pubs.
Yeah.
And continues to this day, because I love this game. Love Letter is a fantastic pub game. Look how small this is. You can have it in your pocket, let alone your bag. You can take it out, and it's great because, again, it plays in 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It has a little element of deduction. It's interactive. You're kicking people out of a round. All of the cards have special powers, and that's basically it. 16 cards.
Yeah, it is. That's what you get.
That
in
is
that little
basically
bag.
it.
And again, Love Letters comes in so many shapes and forms. So the Batman again is a really cool one. It's almost you can't really find it anywhere these days. But the Infinity Gauntlet
that's a really good one.
It's a really good
one. It turns it into a 1 versus all game, which is even better and plays more players.
Yes.
So that's a really great option. The original is great.
The original, you never beat the original. Yeah. And I probably said it in an old video, but I got a very special version that my girlfriend Faye actually designed, and using the original rules, but she designed and printed all the cards, and it's absolutely beautiful, and I love playing that.
Love Letter is a legendary game. It's certainly one of my favourite card games and one of the greatest card games ever devised. So it has to be on the top pub games.
Absolutely.
So Matt, let's talk about your number 4. What have you got for us?
Well, it's not a flex as yours.
Okay, that's fine.
Of the Batman Love Letter. However, this game is at a point you can only find it in German with a name that I'm not gonna pronounce it.
The internet will get angry.
Yeah, but it's Cockroach Poker. Cockroach Poker, fantastic little card game that involves a little bit of set collection the other way around, so you don't want to.
You don't want set. Anti-set collection and some deduction as well, right?
And some social deduction. Basically, you're gonna have your cards in your hands. Each card represents a different type of insect. You got cockroaches, you got spiders, you got frogs, you got all kind of things. And basically, each turn you will have to pass a card to another player, telling them face down, this card is whatever, a rat or a spider or whatever, but you can bluff. If the other player calls your bluff and you were not bluffing, you give that cards to that player. If they call your bluff and you were right, you keeping that. You take it. And at a certain point, as soon as you got 4 of one type of insect, that's it. You're out of the game. Simple and easy. It makes a lot of laughing around the table. I found the social deduction in a pub environment always
pretty fun.
Got a little bit more because people get a little bit more loose and
a few drinks and play 6 players, tiny box as well. Absolutely perfect pub game, mate. I think it's a great choice, Cockroach Poker.
Let's see next one. All right, Wayne. We're getting on to the podium. So, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is my favourite card game of all time. So, what's that, Matt?
Is Scout.
It's Scout! I can't do a video without mentioning Scout. Favourite small game?
Is Scout.
Favourite card game? Scout. Favourite pub game? Almost. Scout. Favourite. Play Scout. It's great.
Fair enough.
Scout is a pure hand management game. It is a wonderful game. You can play this with up to 5 players. It plays in like 15, 20 minutes. Whenever I've played this in a drinking environment, which has been plenty of times, as soon as you explain the rules, which are a little bit weird, but it's not that complicated, you immediately get oohs and ahs as people bring out bigger and bigger runs of hands. It sort of escalates in this crazy way. It's really fantastic. I mean, Oink Games did an amazing job bringing out a game like this that was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres in a couple of years ago. It's just a fabulous game in a small package, like all of these are really. But I just love what this game does. I don't know what it is about it, but it scratches something for me that I really like in how it uses the cards.
We all know how you really like this game.
I love Scout.
A lot about these games, and I think you should go out for dinner with the designer.
I think I should.
Could be your best friend.
Oink Games. I love this game.
It's a really good game, and I see why it's on this list. Absolutely, a little bit bigger footprint on the table,
it's just cards,
but fair enough.
It's no more than like a card game, but it's a fantastic game. Really clever card game. So if you've got some friends that want to do something slightly different with card games, bring out Scout and blow their minds.
Pub game for board gamers. Should we say that?
Yeah, definitely that. Matt, let's bring on your podium entry. What's in at number 3?
Okay, number 3. I said my rules was like how you count and whatever. This is my only 2-player game.
Because sometimes you're at the pub with just one friend or your
exactly.
partner
So you need a game that you can do just in 2. You
need not.
And I'm talking about Hive, especially the Pocket Edition. Hive is a fantastic tile abstract game.
Abstract tile game.
That I always say that is more closer to something like chess than a board game. So you basically, each one of these styles will have an insect, just to stay. I like insect apparently.
That's 2 insect-based games.
But basically, each one of the insect on these styles will have different powers. So they will have different type of movements and whatever. And basically, what you're trying to do is to surround the queen bee from the other player. So all your tiles needs to be completely around the queen bee from the other player. It's got a lot of like it's a tactical. It got strategy. It's got everything. That's why to me it's the chess for pub. It's in a more lighter way, of course. I'm not trying to compare the 2 things, but it's got that depth that if you play a lot with the other person, you kind of like know what the strategy are and whatever, so you can kind of like plan around it, and it takes a lot of like brain capacity.
I 100% agree with you. I think Hive is a wonderful game in terms of abstract strategy games. This is a great example. That is relatively light, easy to teach, and also has the added benefit, Matt. of being beer spill.
It is, because all the tiles are
lovely,
literally like that.
Look at that
kind
noise.
of stony,
so good.
stony feeling. Yeah. Absolutely. And you can get this in different versions. You got the normal ones that comes in a box and everything. You got the pocket one that comes in these empty bags where you can just, at the end of the game, just chuck everything in. You can be as drunk as you want. You can still do it very easily. Close the bag, and that goes in your backpack. I found out there is an XL version where the tiles are like this big. It's just like
not that one for the pump.
No, this one. But this one, Hive, especially Hive Pocket version.
Great choice.
Okay, Wayne, we're almost there. What is your number two?
Number two, the one that almost made it, is No Thanks.
No Thanks.
No Thanks, the play or pay card game. I love No Thanks. A couple of reasons why I think this is amazing for this list is A, it plays up to 7 people. At least this edition does. The original version didn't, but this one did. And B, it has this kind of weirdly tactile element to it, a little bit of deducting, and then a little bit of like interesting choices that you make. It's great, and you can just have a few drinks while you're doing it. It's a really straightforward game. Every card in this game, which I think from numbered like 1 to 35, they're all negative points. You don't want cards. Cards are bad. You hate cards. You also have counters in the game. Counters are positive. You love counters. You want the little buttons, and you're going to hold them all in your hand. They're great. When you draw a card, if you don't want it, you have to say no thanks, and you put one of your counters, of which you start with 11, depending on the number of players, on it, and then pass it along. That person then decides if they want it. If they don't, they put a counter on it and pass it along. So eventually, this card that you don't want might become quite attractive if it gets filled up with counters.
Yeah, you might say, why not? I'll take it with all these counters.
I'll take it with all these counters. I might get like minus 20 points, but you've given me 10 counters, so it's actually only minus 10, and there's loads more cards left to play. You will have to take cards at some point, so the great decision space in the game is when do I take it? And with a great special rule, which I think is absolutely genius. If you can create a run of cards, you will only score the lowest in the run, which is amazing, because there might be a point, and there often is, where a card will come out that you know no one else wants, and you know that you can make a run.
Yeah.
So you can send that bad boy around a few times, collect those counters, and be like, thank you very much, that finishes my run. Boom, I'm only going to score for the lowest now. It's genius.
However, the other twist is that some of the cards before the start of the game are going to be removed, and you don't know which one. So you might thinking about doing this great plan where at a certain point you're going to have this big run of cards and you just need that 17.
It's not come out yet.
And it's not coming out. And it's not coming out.
And it's never coming out. It's never coming out.
And actually it's not going to come out because it's been removed at the start of the game. So that gives even like
even more jeopardy, right?
So yeah, that is really good.
It is an absolutely genius game that is very simple. And again, about the counters, it says to hold them and keep them hidden. So you're trying to keep track of how many have you spent. You've passed a few times now. Because if you have no counters, guess what?
You need to say,
you have to take a
yes,
card.
please.
You have to say, yes, please. I will take that 35 and I will like it. No Thanks is a tremendous game. It's absolutely genius. It's been around for quite a few years now. And it's still great and does something quite different still. It's my number 2. No Thanks. But yes, please. It's your number 2.
Yeah.
Which one almost?
I need a refill.
You need a refill.
Before the refill, before I go back to the to get another one, let's talk about my number 2. And my number 2 is the shiny Coup.
The legendary Coup.
It's deduction, cutthroating, bluffing game. Set in this
It's brilliant.
2 to 6 players. The more, the better. Again, and each player is gonna have some cards, and you can bluff on what cards you got, and use the special power from those cards freely.
Yeah,
no one can stop you. unless they challenge you.
Unless they call you out on your nonsense. It's a great, great game, mate. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, you start with 2 cards. You will, as far as anyone else is concerned, they could be anything. You can claim whatever. And so you're constantly trying to keep track of the information. Like, oh, wait, you said a minute ago that you had this. And now you're trying to kill me with the assassin. Wait a minute. When were you lying? And it's a really clever game.
And then the more play you're around, the more you start seeing like, okay, I cannot say that I got 2 of this kind of cards or this and this one because that guy already showed that he had one of those cards. So you reduce it. So it's a social deduction. At the same time, you need to be really clever on your bluffing. So it's not just bluffing for the sake of bluffing. You need to think about it, otherwise you're going to be discovered really, really soon. But at the same time, it's done in a very simple mechanism that you can teach in a few minutes and everybody can play it. Now, putting on top of that, the setup of the game is in this like dystopian, cyberpunky style. That doesn't mean anything at all. It could be in any other things, but I really love the theme. So for me, just like...
it's a fantastic game. This is a great choice. When it comes to pub games and with a few people at the table, anything with a level of deduction, bluffing is always it kind of feels right.
They got a little bit more of
a bit more spice, right? It kind of goes hand in hand. It's a great choice, Matt. I like it. Matt, I know there's so many games that you could play in the pub.
I mean,
it's a great...
We were chatting earlier. My list was like 20 or something, and I was like, this one. This one is
Matt's
really
top
good.
5.
But this one is really
that's
good.
That's the name of the series. It's top 5.
This one is really... there's a lot of games.
You guys, can we do 10? No, Matt.
I wanted to
the name of the series is top 5. But yeah, it's hard. So but we do have a few more honourable mentions.
There are a few games that I feel that they're not on the list.
Okay.
One of them is the new one from Ashet UK, that is Courtesan.
Great game.
A game that we should have a review out already.
Either before or after this video, we'll see. If it is, you'll be there.
It's a game that I highly recommend in terms of like a pub game.
It's great.
It's very good. Again, it's a card game, Game of Thrones vibes, where you're trying to get different houses to be in favor or to fall from the grace of the queen, and it's very cutthroaty and it's super fun to play around the table.
Really good game.
And it didn't make my list, but it should have been. What you got as well? Did you got something?
Absolutely. One for me, and it's another game that Matt absolutely despises, and it's another dexterity game. It's Drop Altar by Oink Games, the same publisher that did.
My God! No, I can't. My hands, I can't.
But it's the perfect idea of like a pub game. Again, plays like 4 or 5 players, and it's as simple as you. It's like is it Boggle? Anyway, there's a word game here. You just flip a card over, look what's in your palm, drop one of the things that it says.
Just what you got. So you're gonna be like the
game is like 5 little widgets that you've got in your hand, and you flip the card over, and it tells you what widgets you need to drop. And if you can drop them, great. That's the kind of game which will decide who gets the next round. It's as simple as that.
I hate that game with all my fibers. It's just like my hands, just like I don't know. There's something wrong with my hands.
It's possibly the world's greatest game ever created that requires you to drop things from a palm. It's amazing.
I absolutely despise it. But,
so
everybody's got different taste, I guess. That's why. But I got one more that I know we both love it, and I'm talking about Long Shot. Long Shot is
it's the holy grail of
the party
game
for board gamers. It's slightly more complicated. It's slightly more bigger footprint. That's why probably it's not a pub game.
Yeah, but I have played it in pubs.
You can. I'm not saying you can't.
Freaking awesome.
However, we got something that it just came out a few days ago, and
you showed me this. It blew my freaking mind.
Pack old game, and I'm holding the game in my hand.
It's ridiculous. God,
so this
show
is
the people.
This is the most portable game you could ever have, and it's
a stick of gum.
Win. win a long shot game.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Look at it.
It's basically a parkour game. I started doing took the IPs, two or three IPs at the moment, and basically they're trying to do pocket versions of the games. Again, it's not the same game. It's got the same mechanics, more or less, but hey, in these things, it costs less than £5, less than $5, and you can literally put it in your pocket. Yeah, you can put it in your mouth.
That's ridiculous.
And it's a card-based game, exactly as Long Shot, but
brilliant stuff. Oh, and one more, and I do want to mention because it has been a game that I've had with me for a long, long time, or almost as long as I've been in the hobby. Maybe not quite that long. It's been a while. It's Bang the Dice game.
Oh, yes.
Bang the Dice game, again, has those elements of social deduction, a little bit of bluffing, and who doesn't like dice chucking? It has that Yahtzee mechanism where you're rolling dice and then re-rolling a couple of times to try and get the results that you want. And you have hidden roles. You're either the sheriff, you're one of his deputies, or you're an outlaw, or you're the renegade trying to be the last man alive. And it's great. Chuck dice, kill your friends.
There's a lot of
try and work out who's who and try and keep your team alive.
Yeah,
brilliant.
There's a lot of dice rolling, and it's always fun in a pub.
Dice rolling and shouting abuse at your friends, and what could be more pub than that?
All right, let's go to the number ones now.
Let's do it.
All right, I did went for a refill because at the end of the day, the Board Stupid pub always have beers around. Otherwise, what pub would it be?
Exactly.
But it is time for the number one. So, Wayne, what will be your number one?
Now, as we talked about, I think it has to play a few players. We think that a bit of bluffing is always really useful, can be really travelable. And for me, I think there's only one choice, and that's Skull. Skull is for me basically the quintessential bluffing game. It is the the bluffing side of poker boiled down to a syrup. That's it. That's most of the game is the bluff. It's a wonderful, wonderful, I suppose, take on something like Perudo or Liar's Dice. It is that, but in a different, expressed in a slightly different way. It is really simple. On your turn, you have 4 cards. You will choose to place one face down. Once everyone's done that, you can then either place another card or start the bidding. And what are you bidding on? You're bidding on how many cards you can flip over face up without revealing a skull. So that's the twist of the game. Over the 4 cards that you've got, one of them is a skull. And you can choose to place it first and kind of encourage people to bid, knowing that if they flip yours over, boom, they lose one of their cards. And if they lose all their cards, they're out. It's as simple as that. It's a wonderful game that is in a great little production and is about as pub-friendly as it gets. I mean, look at this. Let me just open this up. Look.
It is, of course, basically.
It's beer mats. Look, that's a beer mat. It's literally made for the pub.
Yeah. You know that I will use it for that, but...
It's a fantastic game. And this game I've played a ton in pubs, and it has worked every single time with different groups of people. It plays really well at 4, 5, and 6. I think 4 and 5 is probably the right number. 6 gets a little bit long, but it's a great game with great art design. I love the bluffing side of it as well. It's a great game.
Yeah, I really like the production, the Mexican style.
Kind of the Day of the Dead type thing. Dia de Muertos.
You know how I feel about this game.
I think you've had bad experiences with old people.
I do hate this game.
Because I don't see how you could hate this.
I do recognize there is a really good game. I hate it. Every time I play, I hate it. I don't know why. It's just like sometimes you just like.
I'm like, how can you like Coup and not like Skull? Anyway, I think Skull is an amazing game. One day, I haven't played it with Matt. I'll convince you.
Yeah, we should.
We'll play another time.
We should play. Yeah.
So, but this is my favourite pub game. I think it's amazing. You can pick it up super cheap. You'll have a great time with your friends. Get ready to try and play those sneaky moves, playing your Skull card, and try and catch your friends out. So that's my number one. Let's move to you, Matt.
Yep.
It's time for your number one, I think, and I don't know what this says about you or me, but I'm still on my first pint. You're nearly halfway through your second one. That is ridiculous. I am almost envious and amazed and in awe and befuddled. But what's your number one?
But we are at the end of the list, and my number one is probably the game I played the most in a pub.
Okay, so it must be a good pub
And
game.
it's a cooperative game, different.
I have a feeling.
And the more the merrier.
My spidey sense is tingling.
And we are talking about...
Of course.
Hanabi.
The legendary Hanabi, again, just before you say anything, basically one of the finest card games ever devised.
Yes,
So, yeah.
yes. And it's perfect for pubs as well.
It is, yeah.
It's 2 to 5 players, and you're trying to do this set collection of numbers of cards and colors, but you're doing not looking at your cards. You can look just at the back of your cards in your hand, and everybody else, and you can see everybody else's cards, and you need to have this like very small communication with the other players, explaining them if they have this or that color or this or that number. So you can give clues to the other player, but you can never say the entirety of exactly what they got in their hands. And you can say this card is this and this card is that, but no more than that. So if then you mix up the card a certain point, you're like, I can't remember what I had. And you're trying to do this set collection of cards from 1 to 8 and from 1 to 5, sorry. And trying to set off the fireworks.
It's a superlative example of a limited communication game.
Yeah.
There is not many that did it, or even now that have done it as well as Hanabi, except more recently things like SkyTeam. But Hanabi is a much smaller game than that. It won the Spiel des Jahres in a box this big, which is still the smallest game ever to win that award. It is a tremendous, tremendous game that you could play with almost anybody, and it has a timelessness to it that I think is you don't find very often. I think it's genuinely a legendary game. I mean, when Anton Bowser came up with the idea of, okay, let's have a hand of cards and let's just turn them round, I'm like, oh my god, why was
why no one did it?
Why hasn't that been around for 200 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's a fantastic game.
And again, the theme is the theme. There's nothing about that. It's just like it's at the end. It's a mathematical themes and numbers. You trying to score numbers. This in particular is a French version that we got in this metal box, so it's perfect for traveling. Yeah. But again, even the UK version you can find on Amazon or whatever for £10. £10. The box is slightly bigger and cardboard.
It's tiny. Yeah.
I mean, this is
it's like it's 15-20% bigger. It's tiny. So
absolutely, this is definitely my number one pub game.
Matt, that was a lovely, lovely trip to the pub.
It is.
The Board Stupid pub. We had a good time.
You know what it is?
What's that?
It's closing time.
Open up the door. So that song.
You don't have to go.
I can't remember who that band
was. You can stay here.
I know who I want to take me home.
So, it's been a good time in the Board Stupid pub. We've had karaoke, we've had all sorts.
Yeah, we had a few drinks.
But all pubs need to close eventually for cleaning, and that's what we are doing. We are closing up the pub.
Yeah.
But it's been a great journey. Yeah. There are some amazing games out there that you can just carry with you in a bag, and you could take every single game that we've referenced today, so that's 5, 10, at least 12 games.
Yes.
And you
14 games.
14 games. Yeah. You could take them all in quite a small bag.
Absolutely, yeah. Everything should be fitting in your backpack or a small purse or something like that. So
you could get all 14 of these in a backpack. As simple as that.
And if you're UK based, you well know about the going to a pub with friends. Probably if you're German as well, it's a very common thing.
Fellow Europeans,
US as well. Italy is a little bit less. We don't really do that stuff. But hey, if you're watching from Italy, ciao.
Too busy eating pizza.
But it's we love a pub game, and cheers to you guys. And before we start cleaning the pub, hit the subscribe button, please.
Hit the subscribe button. It's a wonderful thing that you can do for us. It greatly helps the channel.
Yeah, think about it as like the tip for the barman.
It's the tip for the barman, exactly.
Yeah.
It's significantly cheaper than you can find a pint for these days.
Absolutely.
Significantly. So why not do that? It's free and it's massive for us. So I really appreciate it. Hit the like button, check out the rest of our videos, and we're going to catch you again real soon.
Ciao.
Good night.